Like most every DM, I happen to be very particular about my magic users. Magic users are, after all, fairly important, and often what fundamentally separate fantasy settings from other fictional settings. What do you get when you remove magic from Narnia, World War II? What do you get when you remove magic from Harry Potter, a school shooting, and Mormonism? The where, why, when, and how of magic can help define a setting, set the theme and pacing of a world, and ironically ground a setting with consistent rules. Remember, fantasy doesn't have to resemble or emulate reality, it just has to be internally consistent. It's super easy to make content for a setting if you establish some very basics of what can and can't happen. Good world building circles around a creator and shields them from their own mistakes. It's why God doesn't take questions or criticism anymore. In most settings, it feels like magic users typically come from two sources. One is it's hereditary and they're born with it. I hate this one the most. Don't use it. It is a garbage path to magic. Oh, look at me. I fell out of the right vagina and now I'm fundamentally better than everyone. Magic missile. It removes all character agency. Things are now predetermined. It's awful. Getting whisked off to a scheduled destiny is a bored white suburbanite genre. Don't do it. And then the second one is everyone is actually magical, but they just haven't read up enough to do it. This one is simultaneously boring, insulting, and it forces the author or creator of the world to come up with excuses as to why magic isn't getting progressively more common as people get access to education and writing. So now you have these secret wizard associations who have to maintain a delicate balance between the general populace's ability to be just intelligent enough to run a functioning society, but not so smart that they can control reality. If I wanted to do that, I'd have majored in political science. Am I right? Am I left? Oh, whoa! A waka waka political joke. Allow me to present my alternative. Magic is received. You caught a shooting star. You were blasted by the rays of a magical crystal. A demon or a dragon stole your heart, like literally plucked it out of you. You killed Santa Claus and became the new one. Your mother dipped you in a ley line and you didn't turn into Ava Tang. Or you were gifted it by a god, spirit, or elemental. Whether on purpose or accidental, something changed you, something unusual and supernatural in nature happened to you, and instead of perishing, you are now a magic user. That's where my magic users come from. It's fantastical, it's whimsical, it is true to myth, and it's just vague and open source enough to allow both free will and destiny to coexist. It allows magic users to be something else besides often clumsy socio-political metaphors and stories. It also fixes dozens of tropes I am tired of seeing in fantasy, such as magical academies are no longer a thing because not enough people survive the process of getting magic to actually facilitate the need to create large schools. I hate magical academies. That's me. School hater extraordinaire. People now get taught magic either by the being that gave them magic in the first place, someone older who went through a similar, sometimes traumatic experience, or struggling by themselves. It is now easier to explain or rationalize why magic is such a well-kept secret. The non-magical public's opinion and criticisms of magic can now be influenced by other things besides ignorance and racism. And, finally, it doesn't throw educated people or the sciences under the bus. If magic has to be acquired and there's always a lethal risk, there's now a reason why some people, despite knowing so much, just aren't wizards. I lied, the actual final point is about the church. Divine December never ends. If God offers magic at the low price of don't eat meat and wear hemp fabric, some decisions are going to be easier to make than others. There's going to be a bigger pipeline into the clergy for communities that want magicians, and they'll be more than happy to send them to the church instead of the guy who's turned several children into crystal salt lamps.